There are lots of Nigerian business people or lots of Nigerian salespeople who sell on behalf of an employer who are making mistakes in their sales process because they are making assumptions about buyer intent. To put it another way, the reason why some of you aren't growing in your business or the reason why some of you are not growing in your career is because you're making too many assumptions around who the customer is, about what the customer wants, and about whether the customer is going to buy. Now, because you're making some of these assumptions, you are not having a full and proper sales conversation. You're not having a proper sales process, and you are contracting the conversation. And there is no way that you're going to make money, or there's no way that you're going to start making proper sales if you are contracting the sales process. That's the reason why those of you whose philosophy is, look, Oga, you they buy. I mean, you want buy, you know want buy. That's the reason why you guys are struggling. It's because your process is contracted. You don't have a process of figuring out who the Oga is. You don't have a process of figuring out what Oga wants. You don't have a process of figuring out what Oga wants to use it for, on what terms he wants to buy, when he needs the thing by. Lots of things. You're cutting the process short. Your own attitude is, if they're serious, they'll buy. And so because of that, Madam comes into the shop, and then you look at Madam straight in the face, and then you say, Madam, you they buy, Abi, you know what buy. That's the reason why you're struggling. Now, before we get into the meat of the episode, if you'd love to connect with me, you can call me. Send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140. If you're interested in having a 15-minute sales audit or a business audit, you can WhatsApp me on the same number, 080-6466-2140. Or if you'd like to join my WhatsApp channel, send me a message on the same number and I'll hook you up. Now, speaking about the 15-minute sale audit, I just finished having one of those conversations now. Although, to be honest, it ran into 30 minutes in this guy's case, and the fellow's name is Hezekiah. He has the most one of the most interesting names I've come across so far since I started the podcast. He's Hezekiah, and the surname is 100. Yeah, you heard me correctly. Hezekiah and 100. Anyway, he used to be on reality TV, and he used to be on radio. He also used to have a podcast, but he's moved on, and he now has a career with Nike. So he's one of those boys that is making good money because he's selling in dollars, collecting commission in dollars. So yeah, anyway, we had the conversation. Now, typically, I limit these sale audits or business audits to 15 minutes. But to be honest, I was enjoying the conversation, and then apart from that, he is the first person I've spoken to who's doing international retail. So I wanted to, feel the conversation out because that's not the part of the business sector in Niger that I have been exposed to directly. I mean, of course, if you forget all those other guys, the ones that I spoke to, the two guys based in China who sell trucks back here in Nigeria, sell Sino trucks, Howo Sino trucks, and all of that. I don't want to classify that one as international because how will I put it? And you get what I'm trying to say. It's not international retail, so I was enjoying the conversation. So we spoke for more like 30 minutes. Anyway, how did I get here? Okay, so Hezekiah, Mr. 100, is tied directly into this whole thing because in the conversations that I was having with Mr. Hezekiah, it became clear that the thing that is limiting his career growth, because remember, he's a professional salesperson selling on behalf of someone else. So the guy they sell for a company that is a distributor for Nike International. That's why Hezekiah is making good money. Good money. By the way, for those of you who are listening on the podcast and who thinks that jobs are scarce in Nigeria or that economic, opportunities for economic advancements are scarce in Nigeria, you see, this is also one of the reasons why I make the podcast. When I'm talking concrete like this and I'm giving examples, can you hear how other Nigerians are making money? You can see what's going on. You can see how things are moving. Imagine, boys are collecting money and wearing Nike on top, stepping fresh, looking fly. So just shine your eye, it's possible. There are people that are moving small, small. You can be moving as well. That's also one of the reasons why I make the podcast. So, back to Hezekiah. Okay, so back to Hezekiah now, and then the assumptions that are limiting his sales growth. So, he's employed by a distributor who is responsible for Niger and Africa, if I remember correctly. And of course, Nike International is their boss. So they have two physical locations. One location is in Ikeja City Mall, and that's the one in Alausa. I was surprised to know that it's still there because I remember when the thing opened like 20 something years ago. I mean, then that was like the height, you know. So even if you don't have money, you just go to the car park, you just go and park there, you know, feeling like a big boy, you know, a mom's car. Just the flex. You just go and buy ice cream, you sit on your boot, and you be feeling like you're a big boy. Then you go to scope cheeks because you don't have liver to go and approach any of them. So I was surprised to see that location is still open, and that is where they have their premium. Abi, what did the guy say? Their premium store is Nikeja City. So if you're in Nikeja City Mall and you're passing through, and then you see the Nike store, then yeah, that is where those are the people that Hezekiah sells on behalf of. But Hezekiah, you're not going to find him in the store, all right? Because he's responsible. He's responsible for online sales. So if you ever try buying through Nike and you can't find what it is you're looking for, and they hook you up to someone, the person you're going to be talking to most likely is Hezekiah. So Hezekiah now, like most salespeople, he wants his commission to grow. He wants his career to grow. That's the whole point of listening to this podcast, because you want to make more money. You have salary and you want Oga to start giving you commission, or you have commission and you want your commission to grow. That's the whole beauty of being in sales. That the harder you work, the more money you earn. So let's say you work for one of these organizations. By the way, he didn't tell me how much he earns, but let's say you work for one of these organizations and maybe your salary base is maybe 20M every year. And then this year you made commission only 2 or 3 million, you know, you can sit down and reason it that if only I had sold extra units of this, extra units of that, I could have been making commission of 5M or commission of 10M or something. So if your base is 15M, 20M, you can now support it again with commission. If you're working hard, you can be increasing and increasing your commission. You can see that it's not bad. It's not bad at all. And that precisely is a struggle for people who are who sell on other people's behalfs. So that's a struggle. We're trying to maximize that commission. Now, I tried to get a sense of the funnel, because whenever you're trying to up your commissions, there are several levers that you can take. Now, typically, what most people try to do is they try to increase lead generation. They try to increase the number of people that they're talking to at the top of the funnel. So, in other words, the rationale is something like this. Now, let's say last year you spoke to like 200 people. Out of that 200 people, maybe you closed 500 deals, and that 500 deals gave you X amount, millions. So, for most people now, just trying to use a common sense perspective, what they will try and do is, okay, if last year I spoke to 200 people, I closed 50 deals. From those 50 deals, I made 200M. They will say, okay, this year, let me try and see how, instead of talking to 200 people, let me say I can speak to 600 people. The assumption is that if I speak to 3 times as many people, I'll make 3 times as much money. Now, it's not always the case mathematically, but yes, there is some sort of progression that if I spoke to 200 people and I made X amount of money, if I speak to 400 people, I'll make X amount of money higher. If I speak to 600, higher, 700, higher, like that. So that's the first thing I looked at, lead gen. But unfortunately, lead gen is capped, is fixed, because it's not in his hand. It's not in his control, because it's Nike that is in control of that, and it is Oga who is in control of that. So if Oga and Nike decide that they want to advertise plenty, then, the leads, people calling in, there'll be plenty. So for someone who is in Hezekiah's situation now, the only way to move forward now is conversions. Conversions just means this: that when you're having a conversation with a potential customer, with a potential client, the ability for you to get them to take the next step, that's a conversion. Now, let me go back to the example that I always give, which is back when I was in the event space. So I preferred to promote my own business by attending business exhibitions, bridal shows. So I'll go to a bridal show, you step on the floor, brides everywhere, all those brides now potential customer. You try and talk to as many as possible. You try and bring a few down to the table. So if you're on the floor, you talk to 50 brides, no problem. From the 50, if you're able to bring 30 back to the table for in-depth one-on-one convo, is good. If that is a conversion, you talk to 50, 30 people follow you to the stand, that's conversion. Then from the 30, let's say you're able to get phone numbers and email addresses from, let's say, 20. That's also a conversion. So you spoke to 50, 30 followed you to the table. That's conversion. From the 30 that followed you to the table, 20 gave you contact details. The other 10 said, no, 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 don't worry. Just give me your brochure. Now your flyer be this. Now your business card be this. No problem now. If I need you, I will call you. That's how those ones escape. But at least you got 20 contact details. So for those 20 that you've gotten, that one are conversion. Then, of course, when the bridal fair is over, you will now call up those 20 to try and hook meeting. Let's say 5 ghost you, only 15 answer. 15 agree that they will have meeting. That's conversion. Okay? So 30 people came to the table, you collected 24 numbers, you spoke to 15 people and agreed that you have meeting. Now, people saying we'll have meeting doesn't mean meeting will actually hold. So out of those 15, at the end of the day, let's say now only 10 of those meetings held. That's conversion. You set 15 appointments, you're only able to get 10 meetings. That's conversion. Then, out of that 10 meeting, you talk, let's say you issue proposal to maybe only 8 because 2 people say, you know what, let me think about it. They come, something. That's how 2 will escape. So you only issue proposal to 8. Then out of those 8 that you gave proposal to, you manage and squeeze. You now come and close like 5 deals. So that is conversions. You spoke to 50 people. At the end of the day, you close 5 deals. So you spoke to 50 people on the floor. 30 followed you to your booth, your show booth. The 30 that follow you to the show booth, 20 drop contact details. The 20 that drop contact details, you set 15 meetings. From the 15 meetings, only 10 people show. From the 10 people where show, you issue 8 proposals. Of the 8 proposals where you issue, you close the deal. You collect deposit from 5. So that is what we call conversions, step by step. So now, what someone like Hezekiah has to work on is conversions. You're there in your office, the AC tight, just minding your business. Next in your inbox, do ping him because, because somebody from Nike International or from the local distributor, they couldn't find something. They can't find shoe, they can't find jogger, they can't find whatever. And so they talk to customer service rep. Customer service rep say, no problem. You get one guy, Hezekiah, he go hook you up. Let me transfer you. So in your inbox, ping him, message just show. Good. Now, you have to work on your conversions. Are you going to be able to have good conversations, engaging conversations, promising conversations with these people, and then move them one step along through the process until ultimately some people will buy? But of course, he also said that he has a problem because some people, they ghost him, which is normal. I've said it before. I even told him, and I'm going to say it again, because not everybody listens to every single episode. But look, ghosting is a normal fact of life. So it should not confuse you. It should not disturb you at all. No, hold on. No, it should not confuse you. It should not disturb you in an emotional sense that you should feel heartbroken that and then they ghost me. But you should be keeping track, like, okay, for every 10 people that I talk to, 8 of them are ghosting me. In that case, it's a problem. You know that you're making some mistakes. You need to figure out what's going on. So you just keep on tracking it so you can get a sense of what it is that is going on so that we can fix the problem, so that we can cure the problem. But nobody say people are ghosting you, and then because of that, you're lying awake at night and you're thinking, this customer, I thought we were getting along, I thought it was going good, I thought they were going to buy, what happened? So no emotional angst about these issues at all, but be tracking, because it could be a sign that something is going wrong. So I told him, look, ghosting is normal, but then a high percentage of ghosting means that there's a problem. Usually it means that you have a problem with your qualification and discovery. Now, qualification and discovery is the part of the sales process, is the part of the business relationship where you are trying to figure out this guy, this babe that has reached out to me. Who is this person? What do they want? Why do they want it? When do they want it? Are there other opportunities that they need? Do they have a time frame? When they want these needs satisfied? Questions like that. We need to ask people questions because it determines what it is that we present at the end of the day. It determines the kind of proposal or the sales presentation that we're going to make. But we should be asking people questions. So I asked Hezekiah a question, which if any of you call, I'll ask you, especially if you're paying me money and we're working on a consulting session. Because for Hezekiah, we just talk on the surface level. But if you're a client, we'll go deep down. We go dive deep down. Because if you're paying me money, we need to get to the root of this thing. What's going on? We need to unlock your destiny so that we can move forward and start earning these higher commissions. So I asked him, look, what's your process for qualification and discovery? The guy hook small. I said, okay, when people hit you up in the DM, like, what do you say? Then he started telling me about his philosophy, which is he wants good customer service, and definitely we suppose that customer service is like, how I put it now, that's our true north. So everybody is supposed to deliver good customer service. And then he also says he wants to give the best. And we spoke about a couple of things like that. And all that is commendable. So if you're one of those people who believes that you should be professional, you should give good customer service, you should ready to give people the best, you should be timely, you should be on point, you should be courteous, all those things are wonderful. But the thing is, saying that this is what I expect of myself, or saying that this is how I'm going to handle a business conversation, saying that this is the tenor of the business conversation that I want to have, it's not the same thing as saying you have a sales process. You actually have to sit down. It requires some thought. Now, luckily, with these AI tools, we can use 30 minutes and just come up with something roughly that we can use to start. But in the old days, I shouldn't say the old days, forgive me, because I'm a very young man. So, before all these tools existed, we actually had to sit down on the sheet of paper and you start thinking, you start writing out the questions you need to ask, or you start looking for information that you're supposed to source. Now, let me go back to events. For wedding photography and for wedding events, basically. If you're in the event space, of course, you need to know the person's name. Of course, you need to have their contact details. Then you will need to have the wedding date. Very, very important. Because somebody that doesn't have wedding date is not a serious customer. They're just, first of all, have they been proposed to? Some of you will be saying that these things are obvious. Look, it's not obvious. You'll be surprised the number of people who call you up. You're a wedding photographer. You will discuss price. And then at the end of the day, say, oh, no, I was just curious. They haven't even proposed to me yet. And then in my mind, I'm wondering, like, so why the hell are you calling me? See, trust me, that's happened to me. There's one of my friends. She buzzed me. And she was like, oh, how much to do trad and everything. And then I started shouting and say, hey, correct, Neka, it don't happen. That's not her real name anyway. And she said, I beg, Joe. And then we had the conversation. And I drew up invoices. Honestly, I drew up 2 invoices. And I sent it to her. And then I said, okay, so how far now? So like, what's the next step now? When are we going to collect deposit? And she said, oh, no, actually, nobody has proposed. I was just doing research. If you are laughing at me, please, I want you to laugh very well. Very, very well. Because I'm not making this stuff up. It happens. So, if you meet somebody in the event space who has a list of questions and wants to ask all their questions, it is not because they're being lazy or not creative, they're being slavish. No, it is because these things are important. So, have they proposed to you? It is a question that a wedding planner will ask. It's a question that a wedding photographer will ask. It's a question that a wedding videographer will ask. Have they proposed to you? Has the family met? You have fixed wedding date. Good. Where is the hall? Very good. May God bless your marriage. This is that. It sounds like it's casual conversation, but we are doing qualification and discovery. Who is this person? What do they want? What are the timelines? What do they need? Do I have the skill set to be able to fulfill their requests, their wants, their wishes? It is a process, and you need to actually come up with a process. So in the beginning, for me, mine used to be on a sheet of paper. And if you ask my wife, I would never take a call back in my early days without having my sheet of paper. We could be driving, and then somebody calls, and then, oh, it's a wedding. I say, oh, sorry, give me 1 moment. I'll call you back in 5 minutes. I will park on the road immediately and bring out my sheet of paper and have that conversation, because I had a list of questions and I wanted to ask those questions. I didn't want to forget anything. So if you're in Hezekiah situation, in fact, so long as you're in business, whether you sell for somebody or not, you need to have that sheet of paper. You need to write down a list of questions. It doesn't have to be plenty. Even if all you have is 3-4 questions, it will help you to be able to figure out, who is this person? What do they want? What do they need? When do they need it by? Different things. But we need to ask questions. So I told him that. Good. So you know what? Next time now, when somebody reaches out to you, what kind of question will you ask? And then, remember, I'm talking about assumptions that people make. That is where Hezekiah said something that was fatal. Fatal to the business, not fatal to him, because it's just business now, nothing kilos. He said, look, that people who reach out, who come through Nike's website, that definitely those people are ready to buy. Now, I understand why he would say that, because Nike, it is Nike. I remember when I was in school, those things were expensive. If I remember one time, my brother, that time when Timberland the rain, my brother spent 14K on Timberlands. I wanted to die. I went home and I told my mother that, do you know what your son just did? She said, yeah, I already heard. I rake. My mom was like, look, just forget it, that, he wants the Timberlands. He wants the Timberlands. I wanted to die. 14K that's for one pair of shoe. One pair of shoe. Back then, our school fees was like 6K. So my brother's school fees, 6K. My own school fees, 6K. Then he went to go and spend 14K on shoes. So I already know that for the shoe culture, it's expensive. And Nike is Apex. So definitely, anybody will enter Nike store, the guy hold bar, serious bar. And of course, when me and Hezekiah were talking, he mentioned now that he gets on shoes where, 200K, 250K, 400 and something K. I think he even said 600 and something K. So, yeah, some of you will be shocked. But see, don't be shocked. It's not about what you want. It's about what other people want. There are some people who, if they step out, they want their kicks fresh. 500K, brand new pair of shoes. Now only me get them. One in town. So for some people, that's their value. Now, you will never catch me doing that. But for some people, that's their value. So with that thing in mind now, because now Nike, Hezekiah assumes, say, anybody where Bozam is ready to buy. And I told him, look, it's not the case. So I reminded him, okay, well, he didn't know. I told him about the episode where I decided to enter Guangzhou Automobiles in Abuja. Their headquarters is here in Abuja. I decided to enter the office, not because I have money. At the time, the car was like ATM, the Jeep, the GS8, correct car, real sick, mad car, real nice. Just go and Google it when you finish this thing. Just type in GAC, the GS8, correct car. I was just curious. I was frustrated. Like, look, this my Toyota is giving me hell. I said, okay, GS, Chinese car. Okay, man, let me just go and see. So I entered, and I think that day I had a business meeting. So that day I was, you understand now, I bath, I dressed right, spray perfume, looking sweet, smelling sweet. So the babe just assumed that this is a serious person. Meanwhile, I'm not a serious person. The fact that I entered GAC headquarters does not mean I have 80 million to buy a car. Does not mean. But there's some of you who just make some assumptions that this na GAC. Everybody knows that the cheapest thing we sell here is 40 million. So anybody will enter here, the person is ready to drop bar. We can't be assuming. We can't. That people are ready to buy. So you have to go through a process. If you assume that people are ready to buy, you will now be in order taker mode. And the problem with order taker mode is you're in a subservient relationship. You are not a boy. It's just a matter of, do you have it? Give it to me, buy and leave. And that's not how we build sales. No. We're supposed to be a consultant. We're supposed to be a specialist. So you consider yourself to be a Nike specialist, a Nike consultant, a footwear consultant, a lifestyle consultant, a lifestyle specialist, a culture specialist, whatever it is you want to call yourself, but you have to be sure you're a specialist. You get my point. So you might not sell Nikes like Hezekiah does, but 100% you're a consultant or you're a specialist in something. If my own business is shawarma and asun, I will not consider myself to be a shawarma. Like, it's just shawarma I'm selling. I don't know how I'll couch it, but I'll think of something. I'll be a specialist of some, I don't know. What will I say it? I'll think about it, but even if it's only asun and shawarma I'm selling, there's a way I'll consider myself a specialist. So, we started walking through a couple of suggestions. So, thank you very much for reaching out. How can I help you today? But he said no, that he starts the conversation differently. And he says, oh, hello there. This is Nike contact support. Hello there. This is Nike contact support. And so I told him, look, this is your cardinal sin. Apart from the fact that you assume that people are ready to buy, you're keeping sales impersonal. And we can't keep sales. Selling is a very personal thing. Selling is a conversation. You should make it clear that you're talking to a human being, not to a business. It is easy to ghost a business. And I told him, I've ghosted Amazon lots of times Because now Amazon, there were a couple of books I wanted to buy. I was loading it, I was loading it, I was loading it. That was back when we had our firstborn, just they buy diaper and things like that. Then I also had the studio, so paying rent and everything. By the time I loaded up all the books now, add to cart, ready to pay. I saw that the amount was now 100 and something K. I say, 100 and something K on top books at this stage. I say, if I buy this thing now, the kind of quarrel we're going to ensue in my household, as when we have a baby on ground. So that's how I just leave them. You click on add to cart, everything will be in the cart. Then Amazon will send you emails, oh, you abandoned cart. Do you want to buy? Oh, we have discount. We have this. We have. I was just ignoring them because now Amazon is easy to ghost the business. But if throughout that process, let's say I was talking to somebody, Natasha at Amazon, so she they send me email direct as a human being, it's different. I'll feel bad that hey, this guy I don't dey disappoint him. So keeping for the purposes of collecting money, keeping things on a official is not a very good idea. We'll make this thing personal. So I told him, now look, you say it's not a matter of hello there, Nike contact support. No, it's hello there. This is Hezekiah. I'm with Nike contact support. Personalizing yourself like that, you're a human being. It makes a difference. Now, people still ghost human beings, but I'm just saying that people ghost businesses. Easy. Even me, I will ghost Nike contact support center. Easy. I'll just ghost. So inject some humanity there, inject some personality there. So if you've been doing that, please, excuse me, if you've been doing that, please, in your business, don't do that. Don't say, hello, this is 249 architectural design services. No, if you're an architect, it's hello there. This is Chiamaka. I'm the head designer at 249 architectural design services. You're still professional. He's a human being. The person knows that, oh, okay, no be bought. As in, we they relate one on one, a human being. So personalize it. So, hello there. Hezekiah, Nike, I'm Nike contact support. So at this point, he keeps quiet. He doesn't say anything. Another cardinal mistake. You don't say anything. The customer will fill in the silence, and then they will say, "Do you have Air Jordan?" You're already in order taker mode. That mode of give me one rice, give me two meats, give me four egusi, give me plus one Coca-Cola, one biggie. Oh yeah, how much? Take your money. That is order taker relationship. Excuse me. So want to engage people in a conversation. So I told him that no. That so I tried to figure out whether he has any background information on the people that are coming in. Because whenever you have any background information, start with that. Background info, run with it. So he said, normal. The guy doesn't get background information. But sometimes somebody might call him and say, oh, you know what? I'm about to send this person to you. This person is looking for loungewear. We don't have it in the shop. But I told the person that, if they contact you, you go hook them up. Now, in that kind of scenario where somebody now reaches out, you don't say, hello there, Nike customer care support. You now keep quiet. No, it's hello there. This is Hezekiah from Nike contact support. I had a chat with Ismail earlier, and Ismail told me that you're looking for a pair of comfortable loungewear. Is that correct? Question mark. Conversation don't start. That is it. It is a conversation. You're not an order taker. You engage. That's how we sell. Engage with somebody. Then from there, it's so excuse me. Okay, next thing I told him to do is to drive the conversation forward. Typically, for every product or service, there are different use case scenarios. A use case scenario just means people who want to buy your product or service, they typically want to use it for something. It is an okay way to start the conversation by exploring your use case scenarios. Now, in his own case, somebody's looking for loungewear. So I asked him, okay, which one is loungewear? Because, I'm not fashionable. My wife says I have the fashion sense of a Ghanaian school teacher. So those of you who are Ghanaian, I beg no vex. Those of you who are school teachers, I beg no vex. That's just what my wife said, and my mother agreed 100% that I have a fashion sense of a Ghanaian school teacher. So anyway, so honestly, I don't know what loungewear is. So he had to now explain what loungewear is and what people use it for. So Hezekiah told me that loungewear It's a very casual something. Like people just want chill. I be the one hang out. Then you just wear it. In fact, when we're done with this convo, I need to go online and I need to Google Nike loungewear. Let me see what it looks like. Maybe I should start dressing like that. So, so those are the use case scenarios now. People who want loungewear, they're either looking for casual wear or they're looking for somebody to hang out. So, it is okay to say when the person says, "Oh, is that correct?" and the person say, "Yeah, I'm looking for some loungewear." It is okay to say, "Okay, cool. So, what you're looking for? Is this something that you want to wear in a hangout with your guys, or you just want something casual you can use around the house or use around the office?" I hear what the person has to say. When the person says, "Oh no, something casual for casual Fridays around the office," good. You can be building rapport. Say, "Oh, that's cool. By the way, I hope you don't mind me asking, where do you work?" I mean, because typically in Nigeria, casual Friday is traditional. So where do you work? Say, "Oh, I work with so 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 and so, blah blah blah." Or he might not give you some details. He might just say, "Oh, I work in corporate in Nigeria," and in our own place, it doesn't have to be trad. But from there, you can ask more questions. Say, "Okay, all right, no problem. So, does it have to be in the company colors? Yes or no? Okay, so these are the colors we have available. What are the kind of things you're looking for?" See, as you are having conversation like this, you're getting more information into who this person is and what they want. You're also getting ideas about the things that you can recommend at the end of the day. And this recommendation part is important. I made a podcast episode, I think like 3 or 4 days ago, where I spoke about how lots of you are losing out on sales because you don't know your superpower. Your superpower is that you're a consultant, you're a specialist. And when you're a consultant, people expect you to make recommendations. And recommendations are the things that will help you close the sale. If you're only talking about one item, the answer is either yes or no. That's a terrible place to be because the answer somebody can give you is yes or no or ghost. But then if you have 3 or 4 options that you are contemplating, there's room to play around with. So if by the time you have this conversation with someone, "Hello, this is Hezekiah, Nike Care Support. I had a chat with Ismail. Ismail said you're looking for loungewear. Is that correct?" Say yes. All right, cool. No wala. People who usually need loungewear is either because they want to for a hangout, or be just something casual like home or the office. So, like, what do you have in mind? Oh, nah, casual office wear. Office wear. Yeah, are you a Nigerian? I beg no vex. I say yes, now I'm a Nigerian. Oh, okay, because you're now in Nigeria now. Casual wear is usually a Friday something and it's usually a traditional something. Oh yeah, but I'm in corporate in so 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 and so and these all wear. Okay, cool. No problem. So do you have to match the company colors or do you have something in mind? The conversation is continuing. Now, based on all this convo now, you will now be able to give options. And these were the examples that I gave Hezekiah on the call. I told him that you can now say, "Oh, okay, we have this gray one, we have this red one, or we have this one that Nike used to commemorate Steph Curry, and then we have this one that Nike used to commemorate, what's this guy? This guy now, people call him the GOAT. Although people say that MJ is the GOAT, and what's his name now? LeBron. You now put 4 options on the table. You say, this gray one day, this black one day, this red one day. Then this Steph Curry one is also good. See him. This LeBron James one is also on the line. So, which one is catching your fancy? What are you leaning towards right now? Which one stands out to you? Which one is calling your name? Remember, keep this thing conversational. The vibe has to be conversational. For the purposes of sale, though, the vibe has to be cool and conversational. After sales, when it comes to implementation, when people are signing contracts and everything, we can get all legal again. But with 4 options now, you see now that we can be keeping this guy in conversation. If the guy says, "Let me think about it," you say, "Oh, okay, it's all right. I understand 4 of them together. That's collectively like about £4,000. I wouldn't spend £4,000 without talking to my wife anyway." So yeah, that makes perfect sense. But I'm just curious, like which one seems to be reaching out to you? The guy will identify one, maybe identify two. All right, no problem. Maybe let the guy off easy. I'm sure most of our happy ex-customers take about 3, 4 days to consider this. Would that be okay for you? Yes, okay. So in that case, can I hit you up next week? So and so. I say, yeah, sure, no problem. So that next week now, you have room to pick up the conversation to say, "Hey, bro, what's up? How you been? Are you still in love with this Steph Curry something?" See, that's a different conversation to have. That you call somebody and say, "How far?" or "Happy Monday," or "I say I just want to greet you." That's lousy. But with three, four options on the table, we can stay in the pocket, we can stay in the conversation. Eventually, we'll have to get to the point where we get the person to make a choice and then we try and make a close. Or, luckily for Hezekiah, because in retail, especially when you sell on behalf of somebody else, there are usually some discounts. There are some things you can use to prompt the sale. So, like now, for instance, let's say you're talking to the person now, and you tell the person, look, you know what? It looks like you really like this Steph Curry one, even though LeBron is your guy. But you know what? Easter is coming up. And normally, Nike International, then they do promo around that time. So how about we do this? Let me book Steph Curry and let me book LeBron James for you. May I put them on hold? Then we'll see what this Easter special is going to be. Like last year, I think they gave 20% off on something, something, something. So if that's the case, you'll be able to collect Steph Curry and collect LeBron James. You collect 20% on them, and then you can now add that third one. So you'll be able to collect the three of them. You should come up to about so and so amount. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because somebody has pulled that move on me before. That's back when I was in Aberdeen. And I wanted to buy something nice for, and then let me not say what it is I wanted to buy, but something nice, woman related. But don't worry, it's my wife. Then she was my girlfriend. So I selected three. And then the mistake I made actually was that I brought my wife there. So I selected three. So I selected five. By the time we got to the till, the babe said, "Oh, that is a matching," because it was an up and down something. The babe now said, "Oh, we only carry for up. That is a matching. Sorry, we only carry for down. That is a matching up." For women, I'm sure you can figure out what I'm talking about. And then my wife was like, "Oh, really?" I said, "Hey, it don't happen. That's how they carry us upstairs." And then, of course, the thing passed my budget because I already told my wife, my girlfriend at the time, that this is how much they want to buy. So this is the mathematics that they did for me. They say, "Oh, okay, you know what? Sales currently going on something, something, something. So you take this five down that you buy. Then, if you're interested, you would give you three of the matching up. Because of the sale, it will amount to so and so. And then this discount that will kick in on so and so date, we'll be able to reserve this other two and hold it for you. So what do you think about that?" Now, ordinarily, I was sweating. I was sweating bullets. I was dying because I had exceeded my budget. Honestly speaking, I had exceeded my budget. But I saw the smile on my girlfriend's face. My wife now. You should not go and tell my wife that I was buying something for girls. It's her that I was buying for. So I was sweating, but I saw the smile on her face. I said, "Well, salary is coming in so. So I just said, okay, no problem." So that's how we walked out with five of the down. But then the up, we had paid for all five of them. Abi? Yeah, we are paid for all. No, how do you do it again? Okay, we worked out with five down, worked out three up, then two on hold. I'll come and pick them another day when they were ready, or they said they could deliver to the address. So it's a move that they have pulled on me or retail before. So these are some tricks that people in retail do. So if you're in retail and you're selling on behalf of somebody else, so all these holiday promo, discount, buy two get one free, one thing. These are also some of the things that you can use to close the deal a whole lot easier. Oh dear, 40 minutes. Okay. Now, applying these principles can be tricky, all right? So if you need me to look at your own particular circumstances or to look at your own particular business, just call me, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140, and I'll do my best to help. So that's it pretty much for today. But the main thing I wanted you listeners to know is, let's stop making assumptions. Some people talk good. Some people look fresh. Some people smell nice. Some people look as if they have all the money in the world. Does not mean they're ready to buy. Don't contract your sales process. Make sure you have a sales process. Make sure you have a list of questions or a checklist or a framework or whatever for asking people questions to figure out who they are, what it is that they want, when do they want it, why do they need it. It'll give you options so you can make a convincing proposal. Sorry, I say proposal. Make a convincing presentation, Abby. Anyway, proposal, presentation, whatever it is you call it in your business, will help you to make a compelling one at the end of the day. But don't assume that because somebody hits you up that they are ready to buy. And don't be in the position of an order taker. Order takers are of inferior status. That is the reason why when you go to Auntie Anjobi or you go to Mr. Biggs, or you go to Tasty Fried Chicken, or whatever. That's the reason why you rate those people like you do, because they are just order taker. It's just them. I'm not saying you should be rude to them, but they're just order takers. That's the reason why you go there, you don't greet them, you're rude to them, sometimes you shout at them, because now order taker them be is boy boy. We should never be order takers. We are consultants, we're specialists, no matter what we sell. No matter what we sell. You sell Nikes, don't think of yourself as a shoe salesperson. No, you're a consultant. You're a specialist. You're a specialist on, I don't know, on culture. You're a specialist on sports. You're a specialist on lifestyle. You're a specialist on, I don't know, go and research. You'll be able to find a way to think of yourself or talk of yourself as a specialist of something. We're all specialists in our business. That is our superpower. Let's not forget that, please. We're not boy boy. We're not order taker. No, we're not. Don't fall into that kind of thinking. So that's all for today. If you've gotten value from today's episode, just like Hezekiah got value from having a conversation with me earlier, subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever it is you listen to podcasts, and then share it with your boys. Let your boys know that we have wonderful business content like this in Nigeria, homegrown. You don't need to rely on foreign business podcasts anymore. Share it with them. Let them know. And remember, if you'd like to connect with me, just like Hezekiah did, if you want to keep it 100, just like he did, call me, send me a text message, send me a WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140. If you're interested in a 15-minute sale audit or business audit, WhatsApp me 080-6466-2140. If you want to join my WhatsApp channel, send me a message, the same number, and I'll hook you up. By the way, Hezekiah, because eventually we discussed money because I'm reasonable price. Hezekiah say I'm cheap. I vex. Hezekiah say I'm cheap. I say, no problem. That money will be fine. It's just one of those things. Of course, he quickly apologized. But I'm telling you guys that, see, Hezekiah thought that when I was talking, that he was going to hear big money. He was already shaking. His leg, they shake. His mouth, they quiver. When he heard the money, he said, that's cheap. Before he quickly caught himself. I said, no, I didn't mean cheap, like that. So, give me a call. Let's have a chat. I'll catch you all at the next episode.